Welcome to our viewers and listeners wherever you are. Today, the Cricket Show USA welcomes you on T20 match day number 3, which is match 3 of this 5-match series between the West Indies and India, where matches are scheduled to be played in the West Indies and the United States. I am happy to welcome Coach Jatin Patel and Cricket Show President Leon Francis. I am Dennis Heath. We hope to spend a few minutes with you to review events relating to the teams involved. We love cricket, however, we're also lovers of soccer, and we salute the 2023 FIFA Women's Soccer World Cup, and we will spend a couple of minutes towards the end in a brief discussion of the last 24-hour results. Good evening, Coach. Good evening, Leon.
Good evening to you, Dennis.
All right.
And to you, Coach.
Right.
You know, you're a happy man, Coach. You got to win. And a great win indeed.
I told you that I sent you that message. Did you read that before the game?
I saw that.
No, but you had said that they'd get 3. We're going to get 3.
West Indies will get 3.
Yeah.
So, West Indies India T20 series match number 3. West Indies won the toss and elected to bat first. However, the stars of India shone brightly, even though it was under cloudy and rain-drizzling sky. The stars, 2 of whom were recognized as the Yadavs, and they were ably supported by a new star being born, one Tilak Varma. First up, West Indies started their innings brightly with Brandon King, 42, and Kyle Mayers, 25, moving the scores to 55 for 1 wicket in the 7th over. In the passage of 3 overs, Kuldeep Yadav exposed the West Indies top-order batters to his brilliance. Johnson Charles, Brandon King, and Nicholas Pooran were dismissed, victims of Kuldeep, leaving the West Indies reeling at 105 for 3 wickets in the 15th over. Captain Rovman Powell rallied the team with a quick-fire 40 runs in 19 balls to push the West Indies score to 159 for 5 in the 20th over. Although West Indies scored at an average of 8 runs per over, the failure of Nicholas Pooran to repeat his brilliance of the previous matches once again exposed the weakness of the West Indies batting lineup. When India batted, the early failures of Jaiswal and Shubman Gill served as a spark for the Indian team, who were well aware that a 3rd loss to the West Indies in this 5-match series would have very serious implications for the 2-match series scheduled for Florida. Suri Yadav, 83, and Tilak Varma went into overdrive, quite literally. Boundaries flowed like the persistent and visible raindrops. Well, maybe it was the raindrops that stimulated the rout. When the end came, India had scored the required 164 runs for only 3 wickets lost in the 18th over. West Indies lead the series 2-1, with the enormity of the Florida series now firmly in the headlights. In the immortal words of the stylistics, hurry, hurry, step right up, buy your tickets before the show begins. And that is my recommendation to those who are sitting on the fence. Over to you, Leon.
Okay, well, let me start from the very beginning, because I thought the West Indies made an error. I don't think they should have brought in. I should have kept Johnson Charles. I felt that the Hope might have been a better choice. And then they brought in Chase. And Chase came in for Holder, right? Am I correct in saying?
All right.
Yeah. And I don't know. Chase seems to have had some grip on the selectors, because they always have him in it. And I don't see he's a standout. He's no more in Ali. You know, he is I can't understand, but nevertheless, when they batted, I told you guys the other night, they're gonna have to get Puran early. But if they get Puran early, well, but for that swashbuckling hit knocker by Powell, 14-19 delivers, that was a good knock to bring up the tail, but that was about 30 runs short of where they should have been. I don't know, but we are having a problem. I don't know. They don't seem to think that they cannot change a winning combination because they won with two. They must keep on doing the same thing. India has got a plan to deal with the players because they've seen them before. Why not? The other fast bowler from Jamaica. Why not give him a chance? You never know. And they're killing Zari Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
They want him to bowl. And he must bowl everything in the block hole, right up under the stumps. I like how he's bowling now, though. But it's going to take a toll on him. It's plenty of work for him to be coming in at that pace. And he got a couple of wickets, which was good. But he needs support from the other end. I see it difficult for them to come over to Florida and win. I believe it's because the crowds are going to be in favor of India, and that is a great advantage. Let's see, but not a good performance by the West Indies. I can't see why Mayers cannot settle down and make a decent 46, 50 runs. And of course, Johnson Charles is a failure. And Hetmeyer too. He hasn't brought anything to the party, and that led to the downfall. Back over to you, Dennis.
Okay, coach.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is at least fight was well, and even India still is going through some huge errors, I will say, on field. Things are not right, but at the same time, we are the outsider and we don't know what is the game plan is or what the team agenda is. But so far in this particular game, in terms of the bowling changes, they did manage well. That's for sure, And we are expecting that they will try to do much better than what we have seen so far. Absolutely giving a chance to Yashasvi Jaiswal.
Mm-hmm.
I was expected that he will be playing both games in Florida, but looks like he got the early entry in international cricket, which is good for him. Absolutely, West Indies is still puzzled with the Jason Holder down. They were forced to bring bowling all-rounder or the bowler, but they went for the Ruston Chase, who can bat as well as bowl some good overs. And other than that, we were expecting one more change in Leon says, Johnson, Salts, and somebody else, but did not.
And hope. Mm-hmm.
But the overall, looking at this game, West Indies looks like missed the boat. They should have took this game and win this series in their own backyard, and they let it go. They did not tackle the real challenge with this they did not pick up this good challenge with the Indian spinners, which is always the problem they have for a long time. And it will might become a little bit more concern to the West Indies when they come to the Florida, because the Florida wicket is now usually flat and batting track in the past. But lately, we have seen some variation and changes, and depends on how much moisture they have in the pitch on Saturday and Sunday morning, because game start is 10:30. Usually in South Florida, I don't see the good weather you can enjoy is about 11 or 11:30. So it's like at least hour early, and we have to see what the pitch going to act in early morning. But this series is like, as Danny says, with the 2-1 lead, now it will be very exciting, and it gives the opportunities to the fans in US to get into the game, because there will be the action, because now both teams, one is going to level the series, that's India.
Mhm.
India's want
And
to
one.
have one more game and take the series. But I will say it becomes Saturday's game is more important.
Mhm. Just a word here, because I think when they come to Florida, they it's going to be difficult to make a decision with who to bat first, because the rains are coming more in the evening. In the mornings are hot, hot, hot. And I used to have that situation in Miami. And then the rain come down in torrents. So I don't. Should the West Indies should the West Indies should they have taken the first knock in the game pass the game? Should they have batted first, or should they have gone to chase?
It doesn't matter. Over here, I believe the West Indies fell today in both department. Number one, the batters did not do well against the Indian attack in the middle. And at the same time, I don't see the same aggressiveness, the intensity and accuracy what the bowlers deliver in first two game. It was little bit missing component today. And it's because of that Surya Kumar Yadav and this Tilak, both batters took the advantage of bowling barely. Some of the shots, it's their shots, is not something easy to play. And from that point, I will say when the pressure is going up, West Indies has a history. They can't do well under pressure. And that's a story.
And that's what we should ask Puran to do, because it's not all the times he's gonna get the deliveries that he can put away. He has to learn how to rotate the strike. And when you rotate the strike, they're facing new batsmen.
That is what the India did. If you look
Yeah.
at this partnership, 100 plus between Tilak and Surya Kumar, right? They rotated strike so much. They were ready to take so many singles in between, and they were waiting for the right ball to hit it. And that's how they did score some boundaries, but the boundaries were not priorities. They wanted to keep score running, rolling all the time, and make sure you save the wickets. And then they can figure out in last 4 hours. And that's what their plan was.
Mhm.
Going back to point that Leon raised, and I certainly agree. I mean, the West Indies decided that Holder was unfit, so they chose to bring in Chase, and they also Chase was the one they brought in. I don't recall for
Holder.
Holder.
Mhm.
So yes, I would certainly have replaced Holder, but you see, India has shown us that when you introduced your new player, your young player, you don't throw him in there one game, and if he failed to give the big score, you're going to discard him right away. You give him time to work his way in. And in this instance, I would have loved to have seen that somebody new comes in, such as a Mackenzie or one of the young players, Carty or someone else, other than Chase, just so that we can bring our youngsters up to scratch. Johnson Charles, again, he's had several opportunities this last 6 months in ODIs and T20s, and he has failed to deliver.
Mhm.
So in my book, it is time for him to be rested and give someone else a shot, like Shai Hope, because Shai Hope is an opener, or he could bat at number 3 and certainly increase West Indies opportunities. Alzari Joseph, I remember saying this in one of our previous discussion, that I thought absolutely he's a good bowler, wonderful bowler, strike bowler for the West Indies, but I believe that he is overworked and he needs a little time to recuperate. And I would be inclined to give him a rest, or would have given him a rest, certainly in one or two of these games, and bring in somebody else. Jaden Seals played one match previously. I would think that it would probably have been prudent to give Jaden Seals some workout, at least one more matches. And as Leon pointed out, another quick bowler, maybe Markino Mindley from Jamaica, or one of the other quick bowlers need to get that opportunity. As far as the crowd advantage, I don't know that crowd advantage is going to be a factor in this match. I think these guys are players, West Indian players, are used to playing in front of large crowds in the IPL. So it matters very little about the crowd size or who they're cheering for, because West Indian players will definitely be used to that. I'm not as down on Hetmeyer and Mayer as Leon is. I think because of the time when they're coming in, most of the overs have already been eaten up, and then they have to throw caution to the wind. So I'm quite happy with their performance, and I would certainly leave them in there. And that's my overall quick comeback on points that was raised by my two colleagues.
Yeah, well, Mayers has been coming in early, you know, and we want to see him get a 50. He's a man that scored 210 in Test cricket. He has been. You can make a 50, 75 runs easily by scoring twos. You don't have to be hitting boundaries all the time, and that's the key. And he has not been. They get a good start, nevertheless, but one of them should have carried on. But definitely Charles was out of sorts. We have to find a way to, and there's a young man, I think Carty's also in the side, in the squad. You talk about the other two guys from Jamaica, but they are not in the squad. They're the pick from the squad. You have Thomas, you have Thomas in the squad. You have the other quickie from Jamaica too. He's in the squad. And they need to utilize these guys, give them an opportunity. This was the match that they should. If they're going to lose it because you're done up top, on top. You should have played some new blood in this match. Who knows? They might have come off.
Yeah, don't disagree. Coach?
Yeah, to conclude this, I will say that both teams have a long flight, probably tomorrow. From Georgetown, Guyana to Fort Lauderdale is not an easy flight. I know that. And then these players might have just a day or two to get used to with this weather here, and maybe one practice before they get into the Saturday game. But I will say the people, especially advantage to the experienced players with a lot of expertise, I call it, they can make quick adjustment. But at the same time, the way these both teams are playing lately without much rest in between, or the more practices, which is not possible because of the schedule, it will be exciting to see who is going to be tougher and the better as we make progress, because now this is the back-to-back game. Saturday is important, but the Sunday becomes more interesting because now you are playing with just one night rest. But all we can say, this will be the exciting series coming to the US now.
Yes. You know, the one point about Nicholas Pooran. Nicholas Pooran has certainly run into form, and we talked about him last night in the last game. And his quick 20 from 12 balls, I don't consider that a failure in one sense. It's not a failure because he came along and he pushed the score along in 12 balls. But it highlights the fact that other West Indian batters are not stepping up to the plate. if we have to depend on Nicholas for every score we make, then we are going to be in a very bad place when he fails to produce. So once again, others should be performing as a member of the team. And remember that it is a team sport after all. And if Nicholas failed to pursue, then somebody else should say, all right, it's my turn to lift this team up. But what we're not seeing, give credit to Skipper Powell. I expect it of him. And like Nicholas, he's also throwing his weight out there. But other players need to, and of course the selectors, they need to play their role. Their coaches need to play their role in making sure that the players are prepared and they have the right mindset to know that if one's not doing it, they have to step in and step up. Over to you.
But that's what I was saying though, Dennis. Puran is the only batsman who
Yes,
is reading the spinners.
yes.
His West Indies depends on him
Mhm.
to take the brunt, to get those spinners, to attack those spinners.
Yeah,
There's gonna be a time when he's gonna fail. But what
indeed.
I'm saying, and he doesn't have to go gung ho all the time. He should be working around the strike and then let them use up some of the overs. And then when he comes later down and nobody else is stepping up, then he's gonna get bad balls and he could have put them away. But not for him to be going all the time. He can get singles, rotate the strikes, let the guy say, listen, you don't have to go over the top all the time, work them to the seams, get the twos and the singles, and we can build a good total in excess of 160. They were 20, 25 runs short. And I blame Puram, although he is the man in form. He is the man in form. Not that you're asking him. We're blaming Alzari Joseph, right? For the bowling. We expect Alzari Joseph to make a breakthrough. Because he's the one seem to be trouble them the most. If he pitches up that ball right in the block hole, and they have trouble picking the Yorker, that fast Yorker to the toes. And when he drops it short to the neck, like what he did with Gill, you see, they have to find some way to get him away. And if they try that, they probably spoon the ball. But the key is West Indies have two key people, Joseph and Puran, and they're targeting them. If they get them out early, and West Indies is going to be under 170. And under 170 for India is not enough.
Well, one thing we haven't, at least I haven't focused too much on, is of course the performance of the Indian team today.
Oh yes,
they were on top of their game today, and I mean, although they lost the quick wickets, we see where Suri, Yadav, and Vaughan actually settled in and played the kind of innings that we would love to see the West Indians manufacture in their day. And of course, when they ran out of a partner, we had Hardik Pandya coming in right behind and just continuing right where the others left off. So India performance today was first rate, and the West Indies had better watch out because, as I said, India definitely now looks like they've decided that, look, we played around too much in the first two. We have to get serious. So it would not surprise me that India comes to Florida on Saturday and turn the whole thing upside down, and the West Indies, will be obliterated. But it's not a prediction. It's just that the performance of India, I think, suggests that it will be a very, very good and exciting game.
Yes, indeed. Good match, good game, good win for India. They deserve to win. Congratulations. And West Indies now are not in the confident position as they were.
Hello.
No. They believe that India now feels that they have their heads up and they can go for the next two and win the series. Let's hope that rain falls and wash it out one, and then the
Right.
series tie. And the series tie.
We want to see cricket. And,
I think
and,
I
and
think because the way it looks now, we want to see cricket, yes. But if we get a rain and West Indies fans will be happy for a draw.
no way, because West Indies fans look at these two victories with the ODI victory as a resurgence of the West Indies. It suggests that the new coaches are doing what we, employ them to do. So now it's up to them, it's up to the team to perform as expected. There's no hiding behind the weather here. We want them to go out there and fight and take the attitude of Pooran and, Powell, and make sure you do what needs to be done. Give Hope a chance. Give one other youngster a chance. Don't just give him one game. Give him 2 or 3 games so that he can settle in.
Yeah, you're right.
But
they're not doing it. That is the point. They're not doing it. That's what I'm saying.
It. And that's why when we get on this in this program, we're always saying we believe that there is just something else that they can do that they are not doing. And we really and truly need them to need the coaches to take the blink. I mean, they're wearing blinkers. If they're not seeing that Charles needs to be rested, then Holder need to be rested, Joseph need to have a rest, and it's not because Joseph is performing badly. It's just that he's overworked.
I guess they were hoping that they'll win this and then they rest him for the next 2.
No, but they have the same mentality. They're not going to rest him as he's a workhorse. I saw on the pitch today,
and they will kill him.
That's exactly because on the pitch today they were giving him literally physio because he was having
back problems.
Issues. He's overworked. He needs to be rested for 1 or 2 games so that he comes back fresh for the next one. Try somebody else. Even if we take a drubbing,
they should have rested him this game. That game today should have been rested.
I agree.
Should have been rested. But because they're up. They're in the same position now, and they're going to want to bring him back now to try and get the 4th test to win the 4th ODI. I mean T20.
T20, yeah, the 4th.
But
not only that, I will say there's 2 more games is coming, and this fitness matter will be exposed, believe it or not.
Yeah,
exactly.
In the terms of the body language, I call it, or the way you look at the field, this body size of the players, I would say India is much fitter than West Indies is. And eventually, so far what we have seen, it's a little bit disturbing. And I will not be surprised to see some downfall for West Indies. Couple of guys will be in fitness trouble, I call it. It's either something happens at the field and you may not be performing at the fullest capacity, and that's coming. On the other side, India is playing well, I will say. They rested the Ishan Kishan today for another young fellow. And I will not be surprised in Florida. They might make 2 more changes on Saturday. That's my expectation.
Who do you think they might change? For whom?
I believe the Ishan Kishan should be in the team in place of Sanju Samson as a keeper. And Akshar Patel may have opportunity to go out and put somebody else, or maybe Sanju Samson can stay either way, because in Florida, I will say 2 spinner is good enough.
Okay. Oh, we'll see. And that means that we'll have to see what the West Indies do in terms of their lineup, whether or not they do make any changes or whether 2 spinners will be sufficient for them. I think they tend to want to load up on the quick bowlers, but I'm not sure how the boundary, the length.
It's shorter than the Jatin, Guyana.
It is a
Mhm.
shorter.
Shorter. Mhm.
Little shorter, yes, yes.
So in which case they
Especially on sideways, east and west, means the square of the wicket is a little bit shorter.
Mhm. The last time they scored over 240 runs
489 when they came in 2016 on a
yeah.
single day.
And
No
West Indies
difference.
win by 1 run.
Yep.
I remember
at
that. I was there. Mhm.
Yeah, it was a Devon Bravo took the
Yeah.
MS Dhoni on last ball.
Yeah. And yeah.
So
The
that's like
Sammy.
in caliber, you
Mm.
can have that kind of situation where you can see that in Fort Lauderdale, I will say the pitch is playing well, as we all
Mhm.
expect. It should score like 250. And even you 250, don't think you are in a comfort zone. No, a chasing team, because more it comes in afternoon, pitch usually gets drier, more the hit
Mhm.
comes, and it plays well. The problem we have seen in last 3 occasions when India West Indies played in down south in Florida is always the Sunday with the weather situation.
Yeah.
We had a couple
Well,
of, I think 2 called off and 1 interruption so far in
yeah,
last
yeah.
trips. So this will be
Mm.
tricky. And let's hope the
Mhm.
weather stays on, and let's have the more entertainment out of these 2 series.
One quick point